por tejados, por los semáforos, por las ventanas. Ahí está, en los propios semáforos vemos cómo caen las cebras. Bueno, pues la llevan a la universidad y en la universidad la analizan al microscopio. Y esas imágenes, incluso de los análisis microscópicos, nos las envían.
Bueno, vaya trabajo que han hecho.
Porque esto, aunque parezcan telas de araña gigantescas que se estiran muchísimo, 15-20 metros, nos decía, pues no lo son.
Fíjate.
Los análisis decían que no era nada de eso. Y por el momento no sabemos qué pueden ser.
Hay alguna imagen incluso del espectrograma. Ha ocurrido en muchas ocasiones, estas lluvias de cabellos de ángel. Y de todo eso vamos a hablar. Bueno, esto me parece tan interesante, tan raro, tan físico, que hay que ponerse en contacto con este investigador y desde luego saber algo más. Hay que saber algo más, sobre todo si se conservan todavía las muestras, que puede ser muy interesante.
Además,
conocer el estado actual.
Que pedían, mira, ahí están recogiendo las muestras, los hilos, pedían nuestra ayuda porque claro, dice que ellos ya no tienen más medios ni físicos ni económicos para que alguien les pueda dar una solución, y nosotros que tenemos contacto con muchos laboratorios, pues tal vez si siguen conservando alguna muestra la podamos analizar.
¿Qué les parece a ustedes el aspecto desde luego de tipo tela de araña, ¿no? Pero muy largas y muy elásticas. No podemos poner ni quitar nada, nosotros no sabemos nada, hemos recibido el material, vamos a investigar, y esto desde luego viene que ni al pelo. Fíjate, es que algunos parecen casi entidades vivas, ¿no? Una gran lombriz o algo así. En fin, una especie de rocío condensado. ¿Qué demonios es esto?
Savez-vous que dans la région Midi-Pyrénées, précisément à Grappatour en pleine campagne, ces fils sont tombés. Ils tombent du ciel comme par magie. Et n'aimant pas rester ignorant, parce que les recherches sur internet ou quand on va demander à des laboratoires, etc., ça nous n'apporte aucune réponse, soit on se fait jeter, soit on nous dit gentiment que ils ne savent pas, que c'est pas grave et qu'ils ne savent pas. Donc on se trouve face à quelque chose qui a l'air vivant. Plus je fais des observations, plus elles sont en corrélation avec celles faites par cet institut. Je rappelle que la maladie de Morgelon, ce sont ces mêmes fils qui poussent sous la peau et qui créent des liaisons, donc cette maladie est toujours plus ou moins reconnue.
That chemtrail?
Yep. We think we're above it.
I know.
Otherwise we'd be dead right now.
I'm gonna put this on YouTube.
The death dumps, otherwise known as chemical trails, are being dropped and sprayed throughout the United States, in England, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Europe, and I have personally seen them not only in the United States but in Mexico and Canada. Birds are dying around the world. Fish are dying by the hundreds of thousands around the world. This is genocide. This is poison. This is murder by the United Nations. This element within our society that's doing this must be stopped. I happen to know of 2 of the locations where the airplanes are that dump this crap on us. 4 of the planes are out of the Air National Guard, Lincoln, Nebraska, and the other planes are out of Fort Still, Oklahoma. I personally have observed the planes that were standing still in Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, at the Air National Guard. They have no markings on them. They're huge, bomber-like airplanes with no markings. This is a crime. Crime against humanity, crime against America, crime against the citizens of this great country. They must be stopped. What is wrong with Congress? This has an effect on their population and their people and their friends and their relatives and themselves. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with the pilots who are flying these airplanes? They're dumping this crap, this poison, on their own families. Somebody has to do something about it. Somebody in Congress has to step forward and stop it now. But thank you. I'm Ted Gunderson.
Si c'est assez exceptionnel, ce sont en fait des nuages, on les voit très bien, toute cette ligne. Alors ce sont les navires, figurez-vous, avec la condensation. C'est un petit peu ce qui se passe fréquemment par les avions.
Et vous voyez, les chemtrails couvrent 50% voire 75% du ciel. Pas besoin d'être un expert pour comprendre quand on voit ça sur l'image satellite qu'il y a forcément un effet sur la température de surface.
A bit of an unusual situation. Now this first portion of the radar cycle fairly bland and typical, but then you see these bands of very distinct cloud cover moving into the region. That is not rain, that is not snow, believe it or not. Military aircraft flying through the region dropping chaff. Small bits of aluminum, sometimes it's made of plastic or even metallicized paper products.
Contrail controversy. As far as I'm concerned, it's an open and shut case. I have been watching the development of jet travel from its very beginning. I used to live near the Los Angeles airport. Remember when the first jets came in and landed? Man, they made a big noise. We never heard a noise like that before. And we used to go down and sit at the end of the runway and watch these jets come in and take off because it was a novel experience. I've been watching jets all my life, and I know about jet contrails. I've watched them. They're vaporized moisture, ice crystals, and they get out there in the atmosphere, and then they effervesce and evaporate and then disappear, and you can see them. The plane moves along, and the little white trail follows right behind it, and usually about 10 or 20 lengths of the plane or thereabouts, and then it's gone. And you can still see them that way, by the way, once in a while. So there goes a contrail. These other things we're talking about are not at all the same phenomena at all. These planes go by, and they billow out this white smoke, and it covers the sky from horizon to horizon. It doesn't dissipate at all. And they crisscross each other, and you see this thing cover the sky and turn it milky, and then people start having trouble breathing, and then you hear stories about the aluminum and barium deposits that they're picking up and the residue. And you put it all together, and I don't see how anybody who's got their eyes open and their mind open can come to any other conclusion but that somebody is spending a lot of money and effort to spray the planet. The question is, why?
Voici une série de photos consacrées aux traînées d'avions dans le ciel qui deviennent des cirrus. Très jolie traînée également, on voit que les avions à réaction circulent dans des directions différentes, ce qui nous donne cet effet quadrillé.
Le voile nuageux va se confirmer dans l'ouest, alors sans grande conséquence, pas de précipitation, bonne luminosité, mais c'est vrai, le ciel ne sera plus tout bleu.
Selon certains experts, le meilleur moyen de contre-attaquer aujourd'hui consiste à refroidir artificiellement notre planète. Cela s'appelle le geoengineering. Le projet le plus prometteur cherche à assombrir l'atmosphère avec du soufre, un gaz qui bloque les rayons du soleil.
We could theoretically block out a small proportion of incoming sunlight.
Adding aerosols to the upper atmosphere is considered relatively cheap and easy to deploy if the technology proves effective and safe.
Envoyer des particules de soufre dans la haute atmosphère, disons au-dessus de 10 km, semble être la meilleure idée pour refroidir la planète.
The idea is if you took some missiles or whatever and spread sulfate aerosol, it's the same kind of thing that comes out of a smokestack in an uncontrolled power plant that we call pollution. See, we put this into the stratosphere, and it reflects away the sun's radiation, and it counters the effects of carbon dioxide in the lower atmosphere causing global warming. So you counter the global warming.
It didn't take long for the world to agree. A technology existed that could stop the ice sheets from melting. It should be used. Hundreds of jets from all around the world were spraying a mist of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. The gas would form particles which would shade the Earth and temporarily cool it.
People say the government is up there in airplanes spraying all kinds of chemicals to change or manipulate the weather, leaving what you see there, and they call that a chemtrail. So when I look up there and I think are contrails, you're telling me are chemtrails?
Yes, that a contrail would be dissipated by now.
And it's interesting, Dale and Christina, this is of interest not just in this country, but European countries and frankly all over the world. A lot of folks interested in it.
Well, Dave, you mentioned that climatologists and others who study the atmosphere believe that they'd be able to surely spot any kind of signs of an ominous plot.
Our journey started in San Diego, California, where thousands of scientists, engineers, policymakers, and journalists gathered for the American Association for the Advancement of Science Conference. One of the topics was the artificial manipulation of the Earth's climate, also called geoengineering. During the meeting, scientists spoke about the plausibility of implementing geoengineering campaigns throughout the world under the guise of preventing global warming. One widely accepted theory was to block the sun by spraying something into the atmosphere. When they were asked about existing aerosol programs, they stated clearly that no such programs have ever been implemented. But strangely, these proposals sounded exactly like what people around the world are claiming is already happening.
As you know, I have a background in the energy fields. I worked on the first solar plants in the continental U.S. in the early 80s. My home was on the cover of the world's largest renewable energy magazine, so this is my background. My goal has been to alert the public there is a mountain of toxic material falling on us, period. Before about 5 years ago, our skies were